PNG looks to Cuba to address doctor shortage. University students pleased with 2016 outcome. And USA closer to next stage of World Cup.
This is National MTV News with Meriba Tulo.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Saturday's news. A government delegation was expected to travel to Cuba today to look at training for our health workers. This will also see the recruitment of specialist doctors who can serve in Papua New Guinea's rural areas. Health Secretary Pasco Kase says proper screening for recruitment will be conducted to meet the set requirements.
The shortage of doctors in Papua New Guinea has forced the National Health Department to recruit from overseas. Health Secretary Pasco Kase says the country is in dire need for more doctors, and while planning is taking place to rebuild tertiary institutions in the country, recruitment is conducted from overseas.
In the meantime, we have to recruit people from abroad to come and help Papua New Guineans. And I think the idea is to get the kind of professionals that can come and live in the rural areas, especially in our district hospitals that are not accessible by our doctors at the moment. So the idea is to get at least two doctors per facilities. And again, we don't just put them in any district hospitals, but the ones that they have some capacities.
And why Cuba? Kase says Cuba has the expertise and capacity with training and the kind of workers who can work in a rural setting to deliver primary health care.
We would want people who can come and live and work in a rural facility or settings. So Cubans are trained to work in rural setting. That is why that choice. And at the same time, Cuban doctors, they are not that expensive like other locations that we might think about. That the current financial constraint at the moment, we cannot afford doctors from other locations.
The National Health Department's strategies and policy calls for more positions to be created. The Personnel Management Department is aware of this because they have the power and authority to approve new positions. Fabian Hakelitz, National MTV News.
At the Budget Management and Implementation Forum this week, Personnel Management Department Secretary John Kali highlighted some of the factors that have contributed to substantial budget blowouts. Consequently, the department has embarked on tough sanctions to curb an anticipated 222 million kina worth of overspent expenditure by close of accounts next year.
The DPM secretary said unattached offices, offline payments and workers over retirement age and still on payroll accounted for a sizable amount of overspent money. The department has now resorted to freezing all recruitments and restructures until the 21st of March next year. DPM data also revealed that where some agencies were over budgeted for, others like the Education, Health and Law and Justice were under budgeted. On a similar note, National Planning and Implementation Secretary Hakawa Harry reiterated newly granted mandates on her department as well as the DPM and Finance to conduct and monitor funding based on individual agencies' capability, cash flow and work programs to achieve realistic and timely implementation.
And that's very important. A lot of us talk about just an annual budget and we look at the resources that we have. But if we need to do the long-term planning in terms of 5-year period, we can be able to realistically say what we need within each of the years to achieve a long-term outcome.
The government is also working on putting a cap on the cost of spaces occupied by government agencies and reviewing lease agreements to reduce unnecessary expenditure.
Departments out of highly rented office space and moving them into a more reasonable priced accommodation.
Overall, the Chief Secretary Isaac Lupari commended the departmental heads for their collaboration in developing these necessary sanctions.
So we have to take the lead, and if we don't take the lead in making sure that we live within our means.
Melissa Gaviro, National MTV News.
On a related note, Finance Secretary Dr. Ken Nangan announced the 2016 closure of accounts for government agencies will be on the 31st of December. The agencies are also required to submit all commitments before the close of commitments takes effect on the 12th of December. He stressed that the Finance Department would not take responsibility for any unsettled invoices or owed payments thereafter.
No more reopening of the items on the 12th. So if you need to do something, do before the 12th. After 12, you will not be able to get through to me.
Police Commissioner Gary Baki was in East New Britain Province this week to see possible areas within the Provincial Police Command that need to be addressed. Commissioner Baki said police housing will be featured prominently under the new police modernization program to rebuild the country's police force. Edwin Fidelis reports from Kokopo.
It's not always that the East New Britain Police get the police commissioner to visit the province, but over the last 2 days, his men and women played host to his visit, and he came with good news for them.
There are a number of other issues, but
On Thursday, he announced the plans he has for the East New Britain Police. Firstly, he officiated at the groundbreaking ceremony of new police houses at Kenabot that will accommodate the provincial police hierarchies. Then he announced a new proposed police accommodation location for his men and women at Makurapau on the outskirts of Kokopo town.
We'll allow the negotiations to take place in acquiring the land for our future intentions.
The police commissioner's visit to the province is to negotiate with the provincial police and the provincial government to set a way forward under the new police modernization program to redevelop the PNG Royal Constabulary, and police housing is one aspect that will be featured prominently under the new program to recoup police strength in the country.
These are not going to be private residence for any commission officer. It's going to be police property, clearly identified and disdain for those people given the authority.
The police commissioner's visit to East New Britain Province comes at a time as Kokopo is changing from a town into a city, and its police strength needs to be reinforced. Edwin Fidelis, National MTV News, Kokopo.
Meanwhile, Police Commissioner Gary Baki says Kokopo town will be converted to a metropolitan command. This is to ensure Kokopo, the city in the making, will have its own policing unit under the command of a metropolitan superintendent. The current provincial police headquarters in Kokopo will be relocated to Rabaul town and will remain under the command of the provincial police commander.
We will have to now separate Kokopo Police Station from being in as part of the provincial command. Okay, so I will have to do an instrument of separation which will allow the provincial headquarters to operate on its own. And today I've made a decision that we will move the provincial headquarters from the division headquarters, and it will be set up in Rabaul. Okay, so you will move it away so that the Metropolitan Command is a command on its own, and it's responsible for the entire city of Kokopo.
Here with National MTV News. When we come back, PNG Air begins commercial flights to Jayapura in the new year, and students at University of Goroka set for graduation day. Stay with us. Welcome back to National MTV News. Papua New Guinea has again strengthened bilateral ties in the aviation industry with Indonesia. This comes after the green light was given to airline operator PNG Air to commence commercial flights into Jayapura, Indonesia in 2017. It's good news for the airline company, with Chief Commercial Officer Paul Abbott predicting more benefits in business and tourism.
Airline operator PNG Air in February 2017 will commence scheduled flight services into Jayapura, Indonesia. Mr. Abbott says this new international route is expected to open up more business markets.
It's been a while in the making. We applied some time ago. We've now been successful with the application. But the plan at this stage is that commencing 1st of February next year, we will commence with 3 services per week linking Mount Hagen to Jayapura as an international service departing from the new Kagamuga terminal, which is a world-class facility. It has benefits from a commercial point of view for businesses within the area, but also tourism.
Mr. Abbott said PNG was proud to promote business and tourism linking the two countries. The business and support plan are now finalized to allow this service to resume.
been a huge amount of support once we announced that this is what we were trying to do. Huge support from the travelling public, the business public and that as well, who are looking forward to having a closer link between the two countries and the opportunity to extend businesses, have holidays in Jaipur and that as well. So we believe it's going to be a valued addition to our schedule.
In the meantime, National Civil Aviation Minister Davis Stephen told MTV News the proposal submitted by PNG Air to operate PNG Jaipur sector was satisfactory. The minister responsible says this service is sustainable, bringing many benefits to the airline operator, people and governments of both countries. Fabian Hakelitz, National MTV News.
Students at the University of Goroka have expressed satisfaction on the outcome of the 2016 academic year. They say despite many challenges faced by the university, they have managed to complete all their assessments and are now looking forward to returning home for the holidays.
2016 has been a challenging year for the University of Goroka. However, since the student unrest and resumption of classes, the university yesterday announced the successful completion of Semester 2 for non-teaching practice group of students. For second-year student Dominic Gary, he says he faced many challenges. However, he is happy to complete his studies.
Challenges are part of life which we need to encounter, and to this very point of time, I'm very happy, and I know for sure that I have learned a lot during this short period of time.
For some of the students, they say the commitment of the university's management and council made it possible for them to complete the year.
Because of those, some of those lecturers and those people who fought for us to make the academic year successful, we have made it through.
Since we try our best to solve many of the issues with the help of some of the top management team at UOG, and now we are all coming to the end, completing assessment successfully, and I'm very happy and looking forward to go home and enjoy holiday with my family.
Meanwhile, UOG Vice Chancellor Professor Musawe Sinebare has congratulated all UOG students, saying they have shown tolerance in a year of hardships and challenges. Stanley Ovett Jr., National MTV News.
The 13 PNGDF soldiers convicted for mutiny had their sentences suspended by the Martial Court in Port Moresby. Military Court Judge Justice Penuel Mogish ruled in the convicts' favour on the grounds that the PNG Defence Force failed to support the soldiers while they were on operation in Southern Highlands. Justice Mogish ruled that the offence committed was not mutiny in its worst form and put the 13 on a 2 to 3 year good behaviour bond. This means they will serve their jail terms outside of the Bomana prison.
After almost a year of court battle between the state, the PNG Defence Force and the convicted soldiers, the news on their suspended sentence came as a major relief for the soldiers, their lawyers and their families.
Everything was actually pretty much against us. God have actually kept us going, and all our families have actually kept us going, and that's the whole reason why we come until this far, and now that the court have actually released us.
Before the judgment was handed down, Justice Mogish explained that the maximum penalty for mutiny was life imprisonment. However, under PNG law, the maximum penalty is reserved for the worst case possible. The soldiers were given different jail terms according to the evidences provided against them. Officer in command, Major Benjamin Edimani, was given 7 years for both counts, while the other soldiers 5 years. However, after considering that most were first-time offenders and had served the Defence Force for over 10 years, Justice Penuel Mogish suspended their sentence.
If we were lucky to have our wives and children and families who were very supportive.
The military court found the 13 PNGDF soldiers guilty of mutiny under the Defence Force Court Act in June. They were remanded at the Bomana prison outside Port Moresby for over 5 months until their decision this morning. Before adjourning the court to next Wednesday, Justice Mogis said the fault was with the PNGDF administration and it was not fair that investigations were not conducted into those persons responsible for the soldiers while they were on operation. Thakla Gunga, National MTV News.
You're watching National MTV News. Trukai Sports is next. We will be back with the details.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We now cross over to Mr. Football, Jeremy Mogi, for updates from the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup. Jeremy.
Thank you, Meriba. In Group C, the United States currently at top spot with 4 points after defeating New Zealand by 3-1 and initially drawing with France 0-0. New Zealand follows right after with 3 points with the addition of their 1-0 win against Ghana. Meanwhile, France is on 2 since they have only 2 draws with both the United States and Ghana. And at the bottom of the pool is Ghana themselves with their 1-0 loss against New Zealand and 2-2 draw with France. This Monday's matches will see France take on New Zealand in an attempt to improve their standing, while Ghana have their last fighting chance against America. Winners of this round will advance onto the quarterfinals, where they will play against the first and second winner of Group D. Team USA is now 1 step away from the quarter-final rounds and the pressure is building. Their 3-1 victory against New Zealand a few nights ago has made that possible. That's it from me. It's back to Meriba Tulo with the rest of tonight's bulletin.
Thank you, Jeremy. We'll go for a short break, and after the break, your weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, with doing with Dulux.
A quick look at the weather for the next 24 hours. In the southern region, fine but cloudy for Port Moresby and Kerma. Fine weather in Daru and Alotau. Cloudy in Popondetta. To the Momase region, cloudy in Lae, Wau, rain with some clouds in Madang and Wewak, and rain and thunderstorms in Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, rain and thunderstorms in Lorengau, cloudy with some showers expected in Kavieng. Fine, although cloudy in Kokopo and Rabaul, cloudy periods in Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, all these major centers can expect cloudy weather with morning fog.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, with doing with Dulux.
And that's the way it is this Saturday, the 19th of November 2016. From the MTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.